Greetings, various people across the grand and mighty spectrums of time and indeed the multiverse. I am the eldritch abomination in human form known as Alexander Gordon Hans, and it is 1:32 on the 26th of December as I record this. Technically Boxing Day, actually still for me Christmas night. Hold on. You think a cold is going away and then it just hangs around. So I have a nosebleed now. Anyway, yeah, Christmas. Was woken up at 8 o'clock because my almighty technological expertise was needed to tell my mother to turn her computer off and on again when she freaked out over not being able to get Skype to work. And then after an abortive hour of trying to sleep, I had a nice strong coffee and set about the day. And I figured out how to play Civ 5 downstairs. How to play Civ 5 in the living room where my mother was, so that she wouldn't have to feel lonely on Christmas as she proceeded to get utterly fucking drunk. And me, well, yeah, Jack Daniels and decaf Diet Coke, it sure hits the spot. And yeah, Christmas dinner was good. Actually had nice Brussels sprouts. Nice Brussels sprouts, amazing. And I've got some snacks. Although obviously there's still like half a turkey left, and tons of potatoes on things. Not to mention a nice large New York cheesecake, which I shall be devouring tomorrow. Not to mention a panettone and all sorts of other things. And yes, white port. Hold on, I just felt a twinge there, and then my foot felt weird. I do hope I haven't accidentally pulled a muscle or something. Can still wiggle my toes, that's good. Yes, got plenty of alcohol, got some nice white rum, and yeah, got another port too. White port actually. And yeah, also got some nice honey Jack Daniels whiskey, so that's good. And yeah. Oh, well, I've also got Jägermeister because yeah, fuck it. It's an acquired taste since it's basically Listerine, the alcoholic drink. But I'm kind of fond of it. Yeah. So Christmas. This was a day that I was dreading, because this is the awkward family social time when I have to sit with my parents, well, with my mother, that my mother's a lovely woman, but like she's one of the people that kind of tests my autism in the sense of I have to consciously know what exactly the right thing to say. But fortunately, since today she just decided to basically get drunk. There really wasn't much of an issue. And I just played Civ 5 and I listened to first off, Hello Internet review Rogue One, and then I listened to School of Movies review the 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th Harry Potter films, all whilst playing Civ 5. Although I did take a bit of a break to watch a few Mania True Nerd Let's Plays. But yeah, nice long day, and it kind of made me think, that, I mean, obviously things are bleak right now, because there's a war coming, right? This is the Second World War, but with the internet and nukes. Like, this is a very dangerous time we are heading into right now. But listening to the reviews of Harry Potter has kind of been making me think that, sort of, in a way, my generation has been primed for this battle. You think Doctor Who, Doctor Who and the Daleks, it's literally the person who heals and sort of sciences shit out versus a race of racists inside tanks with, at least in the first story, the first couple of stories are very, very much a take of sort of the Nazis with nukes, and the idea that essentially the Daleks, to begin with, were the reason they ending up in their travel machines was that effectively a nuclear war so irradiated their planet that it was literally their only way to survive, and after that they were just like, we shall continue and conquer everything, which obviously is a bad thing. And I'm an Englishman, so I can say that conquering places is a bad thing, because the English have done a not inconsiderable amount of conquering of places. I mean, I'm not using that to brag, I'm just saying we're kind of dickheads. And Harry Potter, particularly, I mean, I didn't like Harry Potter to begin with, because it was just like, oh, for God's sake, it's Jesus versus the Nazis, right? And I got sorted into Nazi house. Because I'm a Slytherin, and it's like, oh, great. Fucking great. Delightful. I am in the house with all the fucking racists. All the greedy, capitalistic racists. Great. This is the house I'm in. Brilliant. And then, to be honest, like, this was all at a time when kind of Nazis were kind of comical, outdated things. Like, nobody's that stupid anymore. What are you talking about? No, our new sort of nemesis is the terrorist. The terrorist who is, are they a freedom fighter or are they a terrorist? They're someone who is angry, and they're fighting over ideals, and maybe they've got a misinterpretation of religion, or they're just guerrilla fighters because they feel they've been wronged and they want to lash out against an imperialistic power. Because, let's face it, if you're on the wrong side of America, i.e. in the sense that you're brown and you have oil, then kind of, they're not nice guys. They're really not nice guys. So it's kind of understandable why, in that context, it's much less black and white, despite the fact that very often it is white people going to kick in the heads of black people. But so as a result, we were thinking of, moving past the Nazis, the era of black and white heroes and villains. It's all ridiculous. The Nazis will never exist. No one will ever be that stupid again. What are you talking about? No, the new terror is terrorism. It's pest control. It's people who are just angry and they want to lash out and they want to do something and they want to try and break against this terrifying machine that is just unstoppable, and it is just pest control because it is just unstoppable. And so long as that unstoppable machine remains more or less on our side, we should be good. And it was kind of like almost from the perspective of being on the side of the terrifying machine, going, yes, 'tis a pity, 'tis a pity. Oh, isn't it a shame? Oh, yes. All the horrible things that we do to these countries. But they do keep trying to blow us up. And then Trump happened. Then Brexit happened. Then Farage happened. It's just like... Oh, no, hang on. No, hang on. People really are this stupid. People really are this fucking stupid. But this is the kind of battle that I have been sort of prepared my whole life, you know, by popular culture to fight. Like, you ask me to take out a terrorist, I'm not sure, right? Like, you know, I'm against drone strikes against terrorists. Against Nazis, fuck yeah, blow them to fucking hell and back. And so, like, you know, I was listening through the story, and you know, the thing is, it's like, you know, the first 4 books, the first 4 films of the Harry Potter franchise are all sort of like, you know, kiddie Harry Potter, like, oh, his whimsical adventures, and then kind of 5, 6, 7, or films 5, 6, 7, 8 are kind of just like horror, doom, dark, death. It's like, oh, okay, you know, hell of a sort of journey to go through on fucking Christmas Day. Particularly whilst, you know, sort of going through various states of lucidity and, you know, sort of playing Civ 5, which is this, which is effectively this gigantic game of war. Of just like, you're starting out with your one civilization, like, great states, come on, duplicate, I need more military factories. It's almost like being your own fascist dictator, going, okay, yes, I will oversee this, I'll have these people producing this, and I'll have these people producing, I'll have the culture produced there, and the money produced there, and I'll have the happiness produced there, and the food produced there, and I'll have lots and lots of military produced there, ready to smash against these people. Although rather reassuringly, like, this was the most satisfying game of Civ 5 I have ever had. Partly because actually it's kind of been my worst. Like, I've definitely had worse games in Civ 5, but those have gone so bad so quickly that I've kind of just given up and said, but like this, it started out and essentially I was penned between Alexander and the Swedes. I've been between the Greeks and the Swedes, and it's like, fuck. And then Alexander sort of declared war against me, and like, it's the thing of, I had created my standard statutory 2 cities to begin with, and Alexander came in. Alexander of the Greeks, you know, Alexander the Great, came in, took over the second city that I had created, and it's like, well, fuck you. But so I was like creating the Great Wall, and it sort of began in this sort of mad sort of way of just like, I don't care at this point if I win or lose. I am going to wear you down for as long as I can, and I did. I wore Alexander the Great's troops all down. It's like down, and like my troops would go down, I'd just keep churning them out, and it got to the point where he couldn't churn them out anymore, but I could, and I retook my city, and now my ability to churn stuff out is increasing, and so I sweep through, I take the rest of Alexander's territory, and then I turn back around on the Swedes, and the Swedes, they've kind of got me in a pincer movement in the sense that they have formed sort of city-states, quite a lot to the left of me, and one to the right, and sort of between the separating me, the two fairly vulnerable city-states from the rest of the empire that I'd taken from Alexander. And so it was like, okay, right, okay, smash into this one that's trapped there. And fortunately the Swedes didn't actually attempt to take on the flank so much, the weakened flank. I mean, I could have moved to counter it, and I did have, like, you know, I did have trebuchets in defensive positions and what have you to deter forces. And there was a bit of resistance, but still, I smashed through, got that cleared up, and then it's like, right, I now have an entire western wing of the empire, and I have got this thing that has been churning out troops, and you are just kind of fucked now. So rolling out, and I clear for it, and it's and this is the gameplay where I stopped doing my traditional tactic of just spending policies and well, I stopped doing the traditional, my usual tactics, just spending policies and money as soon as it arrives, because well, I can get this, and I can get this, and I can cause this to grow faster, and this to grow faster, because you want, this was about having it where I needed it, you know, and it finally ended up with, like, it began with Alexander attacking me. So it began in this defensive war, and basically by the time I had done with, you know, sort of Alexander, the Swedes were kind of denouncing me, and they were, like, you know, moving catapults through my area, sort of around, like, hey, we've got quite a big military force, don't you know? And it's kind of like they're flexing their muscles, going, we're gonna break you, and it's like, no, I shall break you. And like, I saved the policies, and so the first thing I did was I got the I got the patrons done. Like, I'd saved up, I think, 5. So it was literally a case of, boom, get the patron, get the patronage tree ticked off. Then get it to the city-state sort of allegiance is so much higher. Then it's like, get this and get that, until finally it's like, units give you units at 100% more. And unfortunately there wasn't a single militaristic city-state that I could make use of, but still it's like, yes, this is useful, and then I went down into the piety tree, and I went down into the honor tree of just, like, better fighting, better better sort of religion, because religion is good, because if you've got the right religion, you can use it to essentially buy more armed units in the game, and you can use it to buy buildings in the game that will give you more culture, which will increase the border growth and things like that. And so it's like, okay, I now have the way to increase the span, because the hardest part of any sort of game of Civ 5 I found is, like, you can take the first continent relatively easily. The second continent is the harder one, because if they can control the navy, then you can have the largest hammer blow in the world, but it's got to waft through the ocean, and while it's in the ocean, it can't do shit. When it is in the ocean, there is not a fucking thing that it can do all of your artillery, all of your cavalry. Like, it can't do anything whilst it is going from continent A to continent B. All it can do is travel and be shot down by be sunk by passing boats. So the greatest thing that so one of the first things I did was I sort of started exploring the new land, right? Well, not one of the first things I did, but like I waited until I'd basically more or less unified my continent. Then I sent out a sort of a night scout sort of horse for good movement range to go out onto this new island. Got caught down on a bit of a sort of a fight against sort of barbarians, but that kind of just helped to sort of A, level up the guy, and B, to essentially get me good relations with the people on the island, because I then basically just sent over a settler, sent over a missionary, sent over a worker, sent over what artillery and things I could, plonked down this settler on this entirely new continent, and basically just created a corridor. Like, this is a place that if I can make it there, it's an entry into the island. Right? It's just a way to get a foot in the fucking door of the new continent. Unfortunately, I was able to be friendly with this island, with this new continent, for quite a while, because by the time I had gotten there, it was ruled by Dido of Carthage, right? And it was ruled by Dido of Carthage, and it was really you know, she had already sort of more or less cleansed the island of other civs on there. You know, she'd even taken over a few city-states that can't compete, which, you know, I see as bad player. If they can't compete, you shouldn't take them out. And apart from anything else, I like patronage because essentially it means all you do is you back me up. Like, you're someone I don't have to care about, but who will help me out. And so I got onto this island, and first, like, I had this fantastic grace period to build up essentially a sort of line of infantry, cavalry, and artillery on this new continent, and a grace period to start sending out sort of missionaries to start spreading Buddhism, right? Because if I can get Buddhism to be caught a foothold on this new island, then that means I will weaken their influence. I will have more religion to spend on throwing military units against them. And I think in total I actually only bought one military unit against but it's just it's the culture bonus, it's the money bonus, it's everything like that. And it's not won yet. And in fact, like, literally as I just ended it off, as I just sort of ended it off because, you know, the podcast finally came to an end of the 8th Harry Potter film, and it's like, okay, save, quit. Because it was literally about to begin a review of Prometheus, and it's like, it's 1 o'clock, maybe not listen to a review of Prometheus, you know, film about alien bugs. I mean, I've already listened to it before, but just maybe don't want to listen to that now. So besides, by that point I was pretty damn tired. But the last sort of act was kind of, I took over this key settlement and then they took it back, and it's like, fuck you. But at the same time, whilst sort of I was so much about what was going on here about taking the new continent, is it's about wearing them down and diverting their attention, because essentially I need more places on their continent, because that's the danger, right? Like, I've got this massive factory, right? Like, in that my continent, if it came to it, right, I could throw wave after wave after wave of troops and artillery against whatever came to my island. Unfortunately, like, the way this began was that I already had my foothold on their island, right? I had already got my settlement, I had already got my military units, I was already spreading my opportunism, when Dido of Carthage decided, I'm going to try and invade you. So it's like, yes, come at me through my massive island filled with artillery. Whilst you are doing that, I'm going to go over and take you. And I think, actually what I did was I liberated one thing and I started churning away at this other city. And it's actually the only other city that I managed to claim as my own. But essentially, I liberated a city-state, got that on my side, successfully, succeeded in wearing down an awful lot of their troops, basically cleared a sea corridor, so I can now send wave after wave of artillery and what have you towards the new continent, and basically cleared the entire, I suppose, east side of the new continent, so that 6 ships so my troops can land there, and also got an extra place there, an extra city-state on there. And then very quickly after that, I got another one, and then I got another one, and it's like, okay, at this point, yeah, they've retaken that, but I now have 3 city-states that are fine, and I am at a point where I can very easily keep churning and churning and churning stuff out, landing them on the shore to throw against these people. And whilst that is happening, I've still got quite a few artillery pieces, and artillery, because they can fire from 4 away, they can be out of range of the cities you're trying to take into whilst wearing them down. So at this point, victory is only a matter of time. And this has been so satisfying. So very, very satisfying, because this has been a challenging and fun game of Civ 5. And it's one that kind of lets me feel like I'm the good guy, right? Because, make no mistake, I am effectively playing a game of genocide in this game, in the sense that I am going, yes, all of you civilizations who are not me, I am going to take you to the last city-state, and then you will be no more. But, considering that the wars I started were in response to people being aggressive against me, and it's like, well, you picked a fight with the wrong person. Now you must go. And at the same time, it's against people who are generally dickish because they tried to kick in the heads of other people. I quite like Dido of Carthage, because I like the Carthaginians for kind of kicking in the Romans so many times, and when I play them, they seem to be kind of pansy-ish. But the fact that they're like, yes, we will take in the city-states, it's like, wow, you're kind of evil. So therefore, I don't feel bad about the fact that I am going to slowly, like the Terminator, roll upon you, and you are just gonna get fucked. And it's like, I don't care if I lose troops after troops after troops after troops. You're going to get fucked. It's fun. So fun. And whilst this has been going on, I've been drinking good drink. And I have been eating, well, right food. And listening to a really great podcast. Yeah. Incidentally, yeah, apparently some trolls are, some Nazi trolls are kind of whining on Twitter going, meh, pay attention to us, pay attention to us. It's like, Christ. Clingy ex-girlfriend much. But, I mean, well, we already know that they can't get enough of my tits. But no, I don't care. I'm not gonna block anyone. You know, there was a moment of frustration. But to be honest, right, even if things are as worse as they could, are as bad as I may be thinking they could be right now, I can live with that. I can very easily, you know, find a way around it, and you know, but I think I'll be able to fix it easily enough. So yeah, it's been a good Christmas. It's been a very, very good Christmas for me. And it's not over because Boxing Day, and there's still more food. I've got pigs in blankets, and I've got this New York cheesecake. Yes, very good. And I still got to lose a lot of booze to drink. Well, I suppose I should save some of it for New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. But yeah, it's very, very good. I think what I'm probably going to do now is what's a menu crew now? Maybe an episode of The West Wing. I certainly know I'm going to be eating and drinking, and yeah. So I guess happy Boxing Day. And no, I haven't seen the new Doctor Who, and no, I don't care about spoilers. Not that I will be caring about what you say anyway, because I won't be reading it. And yeah, the 10-year anniversary answer special is coming. It's coming, but not for a while. Not for a while. I think the main reason I stopped was because I wanted to wait for more questions. Anyway, I've been Alexander Gunjans, and I hope you've had a Merry Christmas. And I know I look like a tit, and I sound like a titch, and I know that all you want to see of me is my tits. But there we go. Goodbye. Thank you to all my Patreons at patreon.com for helping to make videos like this possible. If you wish to leave a like or dislike to rate the video for my analytics, that would be much appreciated. Comments are always welcome, though be aware that they will be moderated before being published, so please be civil. If you liked this video, please consider adding it to your favourites, sharing it to your friends, or subscribing. If you wish to help me out, or my channels, please consider whitelisting my videos in your adblock software, subscribing for monthly donations through Patreon, or giving a small one-off donation. Alternatively, I have a Steam wishlist for games I would consider let's playing or streaming, so if you would like to see me broken before the Dark Souls altar, or just happen to have gotten a duplicate of a game in a humble bundle, then you know what to do. I also have an official Facebook fan page, Twitter account, Tumblr, Reddit and blog, so you can stay up to date with all of my videos, blog articles and the things I care about. Links are in the video description. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I think that all that now needs to be said is ban all guns, institute universal basic income now, and ensure government is elected by proportional representation. Oh, and also, fuck the racists and fuck the alt-right.